This Nazgul FPV drone will always be a bit special to me. It was the drone that started my journey. It's the drone I learned how to fly the FPV with. It's the quad I did my first cinematic FPV projects with, and it has always been reliable, never failed me, and I simply love flying it. The very first version I had was still analog, and now I'm filming with the latest version, Evoke F5 version 3 with the DJI O4 system. So yeah, this isn't just some random product review, this is me coming back to the drone that started it all. In the last month I've been flying it a lot in very different conditions, and in this review I'll share how it flies from a cinematic FPV perspective. What's better compared to the older Nazgul models, the older versions, what I don't like and who I think this drone makes sense for. No fluff, just some honest feedback from someone who has been flying Nazguls for years. And if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. My name is Tom Strojnik, I'm a filmmaker and FPV drone pilot with two small young daughters, hence the inconsistency with uploading on YouTube in recent years, but let's say I'm trying to change that now. So if you're interested in FPV drones and adventure filmmaking in general, consider subscribing. Before we dive into the details, a quick note about the FPV drone footage you're watching in this video. To show the real flight characteristics, I purposely did not stabilize the footage in post. Everything is filmed on the DJI Osmo 5 with in-camera stabilization turned off and no post-stabilization added. Usually I use the gyroflow to stabilize in post, but this time I want you to see how the drone actually flies, how it behaves in different maneuvers, how it handles strong winds on top of the mountain, and how much prop wash there is, and what the micro shakes look like, for example when I'm chasing behind the Bronco. Yeah, if I ran it through the gyroflow in post-stabilization, of course the footage would be buttery smooth. But honestly, for the car shots, I kinda like those tiny vibrations and little imperfections. It gives footage more of a raw, documentary action vibe that fits the Bronco really well. Yeah, the Bronco. I finally bought my dream car this summer, but more about that in another video. Now Nazgul, quick technical overview. What exactly am I flying here? One of the biggest changes on the version 3 compared to the older models is the dual geometry frame. You can actually switch between the Dead Cat and TrueX layout just by swapping the front part of bottom plate. It's literally 4 screws and you don't touch the core electronics. So if you want no props in view for cinematic shots, you run it in Dead Cat, which is how I flew it. But if you want a more classic, snappy for freestyle, that kind of feeling, then you convert it back to the TrueX. So it's literally 2 personalities in one frame. Next, it has the DJI O4 Air Unit digital system, so when flying in the goggles the image looks really clean, detailed, you get the classic typical low latency, high range digital feel you're now used to with DJI, and the nice thing is that for a lot of cinematic FPV projects you can actually skip mounting the action cam and just use the O4 internal recording. If the video is for social media only, I think the image quality is more than good enough. I forgot to record it, sorry, but there's plenty of other examples on YouTube. Next, all the TPU style parts from the old Nazguls are now injection molded plastics. So the camera plates, side panels, antenna mounts, they feel stiffer and more premium, and they should survive abuse much better than soft flexible prints. And overall there's less wiring mass, the design and build look very clean. Now let's talk about the radio link and GPS, because that's a big part of why I like this setup. This drone gives you the option to run ELRS 2.4, which is kind of the new standard for range and latency, but in my case I'm still using my old TBS Tango 2 controller, so I went with Crossfire receiver on this quad, and I already had one oh shit moment with it. I was flying in the mountains, got a bit too confident, went behind the trees, and I actually lost signal. Full Crossfire, failsafe, video gun, control gun, but luckily immediately Nazgul kicked in the GPS rescue, and after a few long seconds I suddenly got control back. The quad had already climbed up, started turning back home, flying towards me. I took over, flew it back like nothing happened. Except I almost had a heart attack, but thank you, GPS Rescue. That's the moment where you really appreciate having GPS on board. It's not just a checkbox on the product page, it actually saved me that day. Just remember, this is still beta flight, GPS Rescue, not an advanced DJI Mavic drone with a full smart return to home feature. You need to test it, ideally high over an open field so you understand how it behaves, but as a safety net for long range and mountain flying, it's fantastic to have a drone with GPS Rescue, and I think it's a must. It saved me. So how does it actually fly? Especially for cinematic FPV. Short answer, it flies great. I love it. They didn't reinvent the wheel, they just made it better. You get plenty of power, punch-outs are strong, recovery from dives is easy, and the quad doesn't feel twitchy or nervous. It's very responsive, but in a good way. It's predictable. Up in the mountains in stronger wind, it held lines really well. Remember, you're watching footage without gyro flow stabilization on top, so if you see some tiny wobbles, that's literally what the drone is doing in rough air, and I'm fine with that. And for chasing Bronco, it was just pure fun. The quad reacted exactly how you expect it to, which is what you want when you're doing close proximity flying. When you commit to a line, the quad just wants to keep going in that direction. It's very easy to maintain direction, and I really like the tune out of the box. I think it's more than good enough for cinematic work. Throttle control feels nice, predictable, so holding the same altitude a few centimeters above the ground isn't a fight. That's super important if you like those long, low proximity shots and to build confidence, to hit gaps and to fly close to valuable objects and people. So if I had to sum it up, how it flies for cinematic FPV, it's stable, predictable, has enough power to save you if you go for a bad line, and the weight and tune work great together to give you that smooth, controlled camera platform feeling. And I really don't want to sound cheesy and salesy, but I genuinely enjoy filming with this drone. For me, it's close to perfect, but if I have to find some inconveniences to give it to you, here they are. Number one, maintenance. All those nice side panels and plastics that protect electronics also make it a bit more annoying to work on. If you're the kind of person who hates unscrewing stuff to get to the stack, you're not going to love that part. Number two, the front camera exposure. The 04 camera is hanging right out in front. In a really bad crash, that lens is pretty exposed, so if you're in a dead cat configuration, but that's just what you have to sacrifice if you want to fly without having props in the shot. And then of course the price. It's not the cheapest quad to buy. In the last few years the prices of FPV gear have gone up a lot. With DJI O4, good electronics, GPS and great frame, this is not the cheapest 5-inch, but in my opinion it's well worth it. So who is this drone actually for? In my opinion, the Nazgul Evoke F5 version 3 makes the most sense if you want a modern, ready-to-fly 5-inch that you can use to do both cinematic and freestyle. You want fantastic image quality in your goggles, the O4, without building it from scratch, and you appreciate having GPS rescue and a proper, well-designed power system. If you're a complete beginner who has never flown FPV, I'd either start with a simulator plus a smaller, cheaper quad, or accept that this might be a bit more expensive learning curve. When I started, the Nazguls weren't that expensive. But if you're at the stage where you want a reliable workhorse that you can use to chase cars, fly mountains, do long, smooth lines, and still throw in some freestyle, then this Nazgul, I think it's honestly one of the best, if not the best options out there, and I highly recommend it. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to help. And if you enjoyed this video, hit like, it really helps with the algorithm and motivating me to start doing more videos again. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.